Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to answer a question that came from someone on my Facebook page. Mamta, this is for you. You asked me to speak about guilt and how to seek forgiveness from our departed loved ones. And that's what I'm about to do. So, guilt is a really broad topic, and I don't know your personal situation around it. But what I want to say is that many of us walk around carrying way too much guilt than is necessary. Guilt is useful in certain situations, and it is completely useless in other situations. So, for instance, guilt is our moral compass. It is our inner moral compass that keeps us in line, that it helps us know what is right from wrong. It helps us stay aligned and connected to our soul's values. And therefore, it can be really useful because when we know we are guilty about something, we know we are off track. We haven't made decisions and choices that are aligned with our soul's highest values. So in that respect, guilt is really useful because it lets us know we've strayed from the path. Guilt becomes completely useless when we carry it around believing that we could have done something we really had no control over. Let me give you an example. For instance, if we look back on a loved one's life and say, let's say our loved one died of an overdose, and we beat ourselves up because we didn't pick up the phone and speak to them for a week before they died because we didn't know they were going to die. And we can end up carrying that guilt for a really long time. If only I had called them up and spoken to them, maybe that person would still be here. Maybe my brother wouldn't have taken his life if I had been around, if I had called him and communicated with him more often. Or when we say, in my mother's case, for instance, my sisters and I believed that if we'd got another doctor's opinion, one more medical opinion, that would have made all the difference. Maybe there would have, the outcome would have been different. Maybe she could have been saved. Maybe the cancer could have been caught sooner. So there are all these different stories we tell ourselves. The thing is, every soul decides when it is going to be born, and every soul decides when it gets to leave. We really have no control over that. So it is an erroneous belief that leads us to think we had more power and more control than we really do. So this guilt that we walk around with, it doesn't really serve anybody or anything if we just let it weigh on our spirit, if it is just emotional baggage we're carrying around. We come to the human realm to live these human lives in order to learn lessons. Our soul is here to grow, to learn and grow. And so if we can take that lesson, which came to us through this experience of feeling guilty about something that we said or didn't say, do or didn't do, if we can take that lesson and teach somebody else how not to make the mistake that we did, then that situation of guilt has value. We've taken something negative and we've created something positive from it. But if we just use that guilt to beat ourselves up, it really serves nobody. So that in a nutshell is what I want to share about guilt. There's so much I can say about it. And if you have a specific situation that you're struggling with, feel free to message me, and I can see how we can talk about this and maybe give you some more clarity. The second piece you ask about is how do we seek forgiveness from departed loved ones? So I'm going to share with you a story of a brother and sister, and this happened in India many, many years ago, where the two had an argument, and then the brother had driven off somewhere, and he was coming back from there, back home, when he was in an accident and was killed. And the sister was just disconsolate. She could not stop beating herself up about the fact that the last exchange she'd had with her brother was this terrible argument. And that's not an unusual situation, right? This happens between husband and wife or mother and daughter. Sometimes our last communication with our loved one before something terrible happens to them is not the most loving, is not the most kind, is not one where we affirm our love for them. But the thing is, we don't know that they are going to die, right? Like, we can't live every day of our lives thinking, I have to be kind and loving and gentle with everybody, or what if this is the last conversation I have with them? That is no way to live, because then you wouldn't be human. Being human means experiencing all the emotions that come with the territory of being human. And so we can't live our lives walking on eggshells, trying not to say anything out of line to people we love and care about. So if you've made a mistake that you feel, I wish I hadn't made, I didn't even know my father or grandfather or friend was going to die, and now what do? They're gone, and I can no longer say to them what I wish I could say, which is, I'm so sorry, this is what happened. I was not able to say this to you, or I was not able to do this for you. I was carrying this guilt around my mother's death because I couldn't be with her. I was not with her the last 6 months of her life, and I spent many months beating myself up about the fact that I was 5 minutes away from her. I lived 5 minutes away from my parents for most of my life. And then now, when she needed me, I wasn't available to support her. But I had to find a way to make peace with that and let it go. So here's what I want to say. Our departed loved ones in spirit do not want us to carry this guilt and walk around. They are not invested in us feeling guilty. They just want us to be happy. So it pains them when they see us carrying this guilt and walking around feeling so much sadness and grief around something that cannot be changed. Because when we feel guilty, it's usually about something that happened in the past, and we walk around carrying this guilt but not able to change the circumstances because our loved ones aren't here. So here's what you can do to bring some sort of peace to the situation, Mamta. You can actually speak out loud to them in a meditation. Do a special meditation just for your loved one in spirit, and speak to them about the situation that you're struggling through. Tell them that you just want to let go, you want to make peace, and really offer them that sense of completion or closure, and seek forgiveness from them for whatever it is that you're seeking it. Or you can write a letter to them if that feels better. Some people find it really weird and awkward to talk to loved ones in spirit. If you feel more comfortable writing a letter, maybe that's a better way to go. You can read the letter out loud to them, or you can send it in a balloon, which is sort of symbolic of them receiving it and being able to read your communication. But however you do it, know that our loved ones in spirit still continue to hear our thoughts. They are with us. They don't disappear. The love never ends. So everything that you're thinking and feeling, they already know. So if you do something with intention, like a ritual that I spoke about, or writing a letter, or speaking out loud this particular situation that you're dealing with in a meditation, they will absolutely receive it. They will receive it. They will, the energy around this experience will definitely change. So those are some first ideas that I can offer you, Mamta. I hope this is useful. Let me know in the comments. Tag me if you have any extra questions, or if you feel like a private message would be better to talk about this, then message me privately, and we can go from there. Anybody listening, if you are struggling with guilt and your loved one has passed away, you're not able to offer them this sense of completion, know that your loved one is in your life, is watching over you, hears all your thoughts, knows all your feelings, and is not carrying any sense of condemnation or negative feelings of any kind around that situation. When we die, we drop our physical bodies, we drop our personality. It's only our soul, our essence, that gets to cross over into the afterlife. So when there is an altercation in the physical realm between you and a loved one, and when they cross over because they drop their body and personality, they recognize that they had created that situation through their limited thinking, through their erroneous beliefs, which they have now dropped because they are now souls. They've gone home. They've crossed over into the other realm. So they no longer judge you. They're not holding any negative feelings towards you. You are already forgiven. But because you are still in human body and you want some kind of a completion around this event where you didn't get to say to them or do for them what you wanted to, this is a good way to do it. So if you have any further questions, post them in the comment box. I'll come in and take a look at it later. But for now, Mamta and anyone else watching and for whom this message is useful, I hope this gives you some starting point. All right, take care.